This is Jerry with Jerry's Retirement Wisdom. Today we've taken a trip out to Eustis, Florida, where we're visiting the Treasures Mart, Antiques and More. We found this to be one of the best antique marts we've been in since we've moved down here to Florida. Why don't you come along and we'll take a walk through the store and see what we can find. Before we go in, let's take a moment and hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll keep bringing those videos to you. The Treasure Marts of Eustis is open every day of the week from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. As we came in the door, the first thing we noticed was how bright and welcoming the store was. One of the first items we saw right inside the door was a very nice gaming table. And it kind of set the tone for the rest of the visit. It's nice quality stuff. Our initial impression was how bright and clean the store was. It didn't have that musty old smell that you get when you go into antique stores. They had a very nice Hummels collection. That was right inside the door. More about that later. Cabinets weren't banged up. The display cabinets were very nice. Really all the furniture was very nice. It really had a neat look. You had to look everywhere. There were things on top of the cabinets as well as in the cabinets. It was a really nice place to look around. They had chalked paint available for sale. That's used by makers and crafty folks. Saw a mid-century Hoosier flower cabinet with the flour sifter built in. There were some vintage toys, purses, colorful men's ties. Saw one that was even red, white, and blue, which might be needed for July 4th weekend. It looked like some places are beginning to put up holiday decor. I saw old thermos, popcorn poppers, some vintage signage. There's an old wooden cardboard and wood pinball style baseball game. I also saw some open spaces, but not really that many. The place was pretty well stocked. We saw a booth with Star Trek and Star Wars memorabilia. Had some very nice pieces that I hadn't seen. All the booths were very nicely decorated. Some were more basic, but all were neat and clean. Some booths held larger furniture pieces, while others were loaded with lots of small collectibles on shelves. Some were very cozy spaces. They made you want to linger a while and really look around. We were there for several hours, and we could have been there for several hours more. There was just so much to see. Saw some nice porcelain pieces as we walked along. We noticed that most of the prices were pretty reasonable. Each vendor set their own prices, but most things were priced very reasonably. Particularly like the corner booth that was a Western style booth. It almost reminded me of a store all of its own. You wanted to go in there and sit down and really take a good look at everything. And they had a lot of nice pieces. In most booths, the display cabinets were well lit and very well organized. You could tell that the vendors took a lot of pride in their presentation. Coke memorabilia is still popular. We saw a lot of that as we went through. And a lot of the booths had a bit of a theme to them, home decor or collectibles or whatever. And then others seemed to be kind of a mixed collection, but still very nice pieces and very well done. I saw a nice figure of a child that caught my eye. It was an older piece, but you really didn't see the remnants from an estate sale in this store. You had some really nice things to see. Quality of the items was up there a bit. Wasn't a lot of junky items. A lot of items that someone might find very valuable to them. We got to the back wall. We thought we were done, and there was actually an opening into an entire another building that had just as much in it. We were greeted by a Tiffany-style lamp collection and a booth that had a lot of collectibles, even a couple of deer heads to see. Also saw some very nice crystal pieces as we walked along in one particular booth. The booths in the back didn't seem to be any different from the ones out front, so there may have been a few more open spaces back there, but very nice stuff. Like I said, some booths were kind of basic with metal shelves, and others are very well decorated. Most you could get through, they weren't junked up or piled up. Things were well displayed, and you could really shop through the booths. I particularly like this one, Nelson's Family Treasures. That was a nice booth to look through. Some booths held a little, and some were very well stocked. It just depended who the vendor was and what they were wanting to show you. There were lamps, furniture, complete dining room sets. Those were available. Really a lot of glass pieces. Some were very, very nice. Vinyl's back. We saw a whole booth devoted to vinyl. Some booths were very well decorated, quite fancy. One particular booth had a lot of dishes in it that reminded me of my grandmother's house. It almost looked like her pantry. Like I said, every booth was different. Some had furniture. This one here had a whole dining room set. And you really had to look around. You had to look up. A lot of things were hanging up above the booth, so you might miss a nice vase or something hanging up above. I liked one of the booths that it had a bobber cooler. It had manual typewriters. Even had that mirror ball hanging from the top of the booth, probably left over from that high school dance. There were a number of booths that had ship models in them for sale. They were nicely done, very nice pieces. They're pretty impressive, and they were plentiful. I particularly like one that I saw that had a side paddle wheeler available for sale. We headed towards the front, ran across a Schwinn bicycle that looked like an older model, but it was very nice shape and very reasonably priced. It was easy to find your way around the building. There was a lot of directional signs. You could pretty much find anything that you would expect to find in an antique store. There were a couple of booths that had very nice furniture pieces available for sale. Particularly like one of the glass coffee tables that was offered. Also saw some things you don't see. We saw Western saddles, a carousel horse available for purchase. What antique store would be complete without a knight standing in the booth? This particular booth had black dog salvage style items, where a couple bars were made from the front ends of vehicles, and even an engine turned into a coffee table. There were some dishes, and then one last ship that was nicely done, and a little bit more Coke memorabilia to catch your eye. The folks at the front were very knowledgeable and helpful. Like I said, Miss Holly really was interested in the Hummels collection and had to pick up a couple of pieces. It's been Jerry's Retirement Wisdom. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll keep those videos coming. Look okay? No, it should be running. Here? What's my hair doing? What do I do with my hands? Here.